morning.
Well, welcome, y'all. Here we are in the month of March. Let's celebrate at least that today. What a beautiful day. Let's sing together. We're going to learn a new fun song. Fun song. Sing along. 1, 2, 3.
South, east, west, there is no worst, there is no best. Everybody, everywhere, same address. North, south, east, west. Up, down, out and in, we've all got the same chance to win. Makes no difference about the color of our skin. Up, down, out, in. Summer, spring, winter, fall, young, old, big or small, age doesn't really matter after all. Summer, spring, winter, fall. You, me, them, us, all 4 words synonymous. Born to Mother Earth, indigenous. You, me, them, us. North, south, east, west, there is no worst, there is no best. Everybody, everywhere, same address. North, south, east, west. North, south, east, west.
We on? Good morning. Happy March. Welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living, where transformation happens. We're so glad you're here, whether in person or virtual sanctuaries on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Delanne Haslam, and I'm very honored to welcome you today. Love streamers, please share your name and your location in the comments section so we can get to know you and so you can connect with each other. First things first, I want to mention the little packet of papers out on our lobby table. This is our 2025 anonymous survey. We want to know how you feel and hear your opinions so we can improve our service to you and the community. If you didn't get one last week, please pick one up on your way out at the table, or even better, you can complete it online, and it's so easy. Right on the front page of our website, it says 2025 survey is here. There's a big orange button that says take the survey. Press it, answer the questions, press submit. Easy peasy. We would be very grateful if you participated and let us know how you feel. Our practitioners serving today are Lana Cairns, sharing a reading and time of sacred silence before leading us in prayer. Sue Gardner is holding high watch throughout the service, knowing that the best and highest is unfolding for each one of us as we share this sacred time together. Our theme this month is Life is Perfectly Imperfect, and Reverend Linda Brewer's talk is called Serving from Your Whole Self. Our special music today is our very own Rick Charette. Woo! And I want to quickly take this opportunity to tell you how much I appreciate you, Rick. He works so hard as the director. There's so much behind the scenes that he does. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being a blessing in our lives.
Thank you.
Our center is a spiritual community that teaches a philosophy for daily living based on spiritual principles and practices that are universal among religions. We honor every pathway by which people seek to know and connect with the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness so we can help make the world a better place. Please join me in saying our promise. We promise to embody love, compassion, and kindness everywhere we go, and to be the peaceful presence we want to experience in this world. We recognize the divine oneness in everyone and everything, including all living creatures, Mother Earth, and the universe. We promise to be generous, sharing our time, talents, and treasures as we serve from the highest truth, that love is the way. Recognizing and embodying this love for all, we help create a world that works for everyone. Thank you. Do we have any first-time visitors today? We'd love to welcome you if you're willing to raise your hand. Welcome. There's so many. We're so glad you're here. If you haven't done so yet, please pick up some information about our center at the table in the lobby and grab a copy of The Science of Mind as a gift for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we affirm for you and everyone here that you will experience a blessing this morning. Remember that today, being the first Sunday of the month, we will be holding our monthly visioning and potluck right after the service in the first floor classroom, room 102. If you're new to visioning, it is a process that allows Spirit to reveal to us and through us its vision for our highest good. Don't worry if you've never done it before. The process will be explained and you'll be guided through it. Also, it's a practice you can use on your own to hear Spirit's highest vision for your life. Come join us for fellowship and visioning after the service. Now, before I share briefly what's coming up, remember you can find out much more on our website, spirituallyfree.org, where you can also learn about our center, register for classes, donate, submit a prayer request, and much more. If you're here in person, you can check out our flyer wall and do many of those same things at our hospitality table. Our ongoing events, our book study is held every Sunday at 9:30 in the classroom downstairs. Join us to discuss the book of the month. And this month's book is Brene Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection, which sounds perfect for our theme. Every Wednesday at noon, there is a midweek meditation streaming live on Facebook, or you can also listen at your convenience anytime after Wednesday. If you want to learn more about us, you're in luck. On the second Sunday of each month, we will answer your questions such as, what do we believe? What is affirmative prayer? How is the center organized? And how can I get involved? This will be held directly after the celebration service in the classroom, and if you can't make it in person, there will also be a Zoom meeting every second Wednesday at 6. And you can find that Zoom link in the online classes section of our website. Third Sunday of each month is our bake sale, which I think has been going swimmingly. Cakes, pies, loaves of bread, and smaller items. Bakers, please remember to provide a typed ingredient list and wrap each sale item separately. Our LGBTQIA and ally support group meets the fourth Saturday of each month at 11 in the classroom. This is a supportive and inclusive environment where you can be yourself, connect with others, share your experience, and find the strength to thrive. Please join us and invite your friends if it sounds like something you'd like to participate in. The fourth Wednesday of each month is our Wednesday experience, and this month it will be March 26th with Copo Magic. That should be amazing. Dates to remember: come experience a journey and drum circle that will help you find guidance on your path. This will be held on Sunday, March 16th from 12:30 to 2:30 here in the sanctuary, and will be facilitated by Amy Treehart Rab. She's amazing. She began her conscious path as a shamanic practitioner over 20 years ago. As a Reiki master, spiritual counselor, energy worker, and channel, she holds the space for individuals to find their way to integrating body, mind, and spirit. No drums are needed to participate. Just bring your open mind and open heart. And if you want to be comfy, you could bring a yoga mat or a pillow. And next, would you like advice on writing your own will and testament? This can be really stressful and time-consuming to do yourself. So please join us for a free will workshop presented by George Wilkinson, who is a representative of Legal Shield. This workshop will be held on Wednesday, March 19th at 10 a.m. to 11:30 downstairs in the classroom, and light refreshments will be served. If this would benefit you, please take advantage of this great free opportunity. Last, I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, mark your calendar for our annual business meeting and potluck, which is going to be held March 30th after service. We'll review strengths and weaknesses from 2024, talk about plans for 2025. vote to elect new board members, and we'll also have a time for Q&A. Now remember, to vote, you must be a registered member. Please bring a potluck dish to share and join us in fellowship. And this will also be streamed online for our virtual community. Our center was founded on and is grounded in prayer. Prayer helps us deal with whatever comes our way and helps us realize that there is a spiritual purpose for whatever might be happening in our lives. If you're having trouble knowing this, please let one of our practitioners pray with you and know this for you until you can know it for yourself. The practitioners are the ones wearing the purple stoles, and they will be available to pray with you in the room across the hall directly after service. Or, of course, you can always submit a prayer request online or in the lobby, and all of the practitioners will uplift you in prayer for the week. Now I invite you to allow Lana's reading and the century music to connect you with the spirit that lives within as we open our hearts to receive a time of sacred silence and prayer.
Thank you, Delanne. I just want to give her some acknowledgement for her awesome announcements. Thank you. You're on. And the singer and the greeter. She does it all. So this month, the book is Brené Brown's The Gift of Imperfection. She says, owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do. Wholeness is not about perfection. It's about embracing who we are in our full humanity, our imperfections, our struggles, and our strengths, knowing that we are worthy of love and belonging just as we are. So if you care, let's close our eyes and we'll listen to some music, and then I'll lead us into prayer.
I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven. I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. I give it all to you, God, knowing that you'll make something beautiful out of me. So I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. I will climb this mountain with my hands wide open. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on to. There's nothing I hold on. 'Cause I lean not on my own understanding. My life is in the hands of the Maker of heaven.
So in this healing energy of the One, I am so deeply grateful for my life, for my breath, for my husband, for my children, for all that I have. I am deeply grateful for for the Centers for Spiritual Living. So in this healing energy of the One, I know and I recognize there is just one life, one presence, one power that we all come from, that we all return to. We see it in the stars, we see it in the mountains, we see it in the animal life, the proliferation of people, that there is just so much of that one life expressing itself through all of creation. So I know I, Lana, am unified with that source, that I return to it, that I am born from it, that my thoughts, my words, my deeds all come from that one source. And I know if they come through me and as me and is me, I know the same for everyone here in this congregation this morning and beyond, for those that are online as well, that that one power, that one presence breathes through everyone here today, that we are all unified with that one source all the time. And so I bless today's service. I bless this week, this glorious month, this spring weather that grounds us and unites us as that one life. So I am just so deeply grateful, recognizing that I am unified with that one source, and I bless all that is and all that will be. And so together with one heartbeat, we simply say, and so it is.
Thank you, Lana. This month's theme made me very curious. We talk about being perfectly imperfect. I guess it seems to resonate with me more than claiming myself as perfect all the time. I like the way it feels, perfectly imperfect. As life is good, there's some things that go bump, and we trust that it's for the highest good. It's a real exercise sometimes. And it requires us to be resilient. And that's why I chose this song. It's a wonderful song by a couple of bluegrass songwriters. I hope you enjoy it, and please sing along. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Uplift the negative. I show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen. Whoa, whoa, oh, whoa, whoa, oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Those are easy words, huh?
All we can do to stay uplifted. Pipelines through backyards, wolves howling out front. Yeah, I got my crew, but truth is what I want. Realizing on point, power to the peaceful, prayers to the waters, women at the center. All vessels open to give and receive. Let's see the system brought down to its knees.
Nice singing, Delanne. It's an empowering song. I'm not going to introduce this tune. I'm just going to sing it. It's pretty self-evident what it's about. When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? The truth is so much easier, I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. See, I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. But still I find I'm crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. Still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. At the moment I remember, it comes so clear to me. The moment I surrender, I'm as safe as I can be. And I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. And I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Thank you. Yeah. love living in that mystery. It's my privilege to introduce our speaker today. I've known Reverend Linda Brewer a long time, several decades. So that's how old we are. I've known her in several capacities, definitely in many leadership positions in this community and as a practitioner and a minister. I've also known her as a chaplain in a professional way and as a spiritual care person, so dedicated to end-of-life situations. She has a lot of juice when she talks, and she's one of my favorite speakers. She prepares and delivers. Yeah. Let's welcome Reverend Linda Brewer.
Yes, Raj. You ready? All right. If I'm ever supposed to do this again, I'm just going to stand up here and read all the lyrics from Rick and Shemaine's songs that they've written. And Rory's, I just... What can I say after that? I don't know. But we're talking this month about the gifts of imperfection. And I don't think it's an accident that I'm the one to lead off a bunch of talks about imperfection. If you've seen me hosting up here a few times, you know that I make mistakes, but they also don't rattle me. However, as a kid and into my 30s, a part of me believed that I had to be perfect, to be okay, to be loved, to be accepted. And it took a lot of years of therapy for me to get to the place where I am now, unapologetically embracing my imperfection. So Reverend Cindy chose this title for today called Serving from My Whole Self. And what that means to me personally is it's letting go of the idea that in order for me to stand up here and do this or do any of the other things I do here or anything else, that I have to do it perfectly. 'Cause that's just, I like to say there was one guy that was accredited with being perfect and they hung him on the cross. So, I don't know that it's anything we really want to do. However, I know that I'm not the only one, right, that got a message somewhere that you're supposed to be perfect. Anybody else? Yeah, exactly. Or, if you can't be perfect, it's really important that you appear that way. If you can't do it, at least fake it so that nobody knows. And it's fake it till you make it. Or, I don't think you ever make it to perfection. So, but whatever. Anyway, I also had this other message that said I was supposed to please everyone. Now, if you want an exercise in futility, try to perfectly please everyone. If you've ever been a pulpit minister, you know how just ask Reverend Cindy how impossible that is. So, one of our core concepts here is change your thinking, change your life. And we use all kinds of things, affirmations, spiritual mind treatments, meditation, classes and studying, choosing different ways of behaving, altering where and how we spend our time, and so much more in order to change our thinking. And much of the time, that's enough. It's sufficient to bring about the change that we want to have in our lives. And if we do that, it changes our conscious thinking. And if we do it long enough, it actually begins to change our unconscious thinking. But what does it mean when we do all of those things and we still haven't found the love of our life, or we're still struggling financially, or we're in a job that we hate? Why hasn't changing our thinking changed our life? Well, a couple weeks ago, Reverend Cindy talked about the difference between our conscious and our subconscious mind. And the counseling ministry that I was in my life before Utah was particularly focused on helping people change their unconscious things in life. Because some of us have things so deep within us that we don't consciously know they're there, and yet they're impacting what we do, how we feel, who we hang out with. I used to say that I could walk into a room, now this is a big fantasy, all the women in the room know this. I used to say that I could walk in a room with 500 men who were loving and kind and would be committed and never leave you, and 499 of those, and one man who was, well, I would be attracted to him. Okay. Now, we all know the fantasy part of that, right, ladies? 499 out of, yeah. Okay. But the things that happen to us that are deep like that might need more than the things we do consciously to change what we're thinking. So I want to tell you a little bit. I've been told that people learn best from personal stories. So I'm going to talk a lot about me today. Deal with it. All right. I'm very fond of saying that I used 10 lifetimes of good karma getting the parents I got this lifetime. They were just incredible. My mom was Earth Mother. She was my best friend, and she made our home the place. Everybody wanted to come hang out at my house after school because my mom was so warm and welcoming, and she also had Colonial Cream chocolate cookies. Every you know, we used to say Grandma Brewer's Colonial Cream cookies, you know. My dad was a career Army officer, and because of all the different assignments he had when I was growing up as a kid, I'm blessed to say that I experienced a very Forrest Gump kind of life in which my life intersected with all kinds of historical things and places that were happening in the world. My dad went to Korea when I was 4 years old, and blessedly, he returned 2 years later. He was then stationed at the Pentagon, the most famous military establishment that we know about in our country, and we used to get to go visit him there at the Pentagon. Boy, there are a lot of long hauls there. We also had to go there to get all of our shots at the dispensary. That's a clinic, for those of you who don't know the military terms. When we were going for his next assignment, which was to Germany, where we moved to this little tiny town in Bavaria called Füssen. Do any of you know Füssen, Germany? All right, Dan does. He travels everywhere. And Robert, okay. Füssen is where Neuschwanstein Castle is. That's the big white castle that used to be on all the travel posters of Germany, and that Disney modeled the castle at Disneyland after that. Well, we used to go have birthday parties up there when I lived there. So after that, we moved to Alabama, a very segregated Alabama, which talk about a culture shock moving from Germany to segregated Alabama. And we were there during the Freedom Rides. And my dad worked at Redstone Arsenal, which is where the work on the space program happened before NASA got created. So my dad was there when Wernher von Braun was there working on creating the rocket to send the first American into space, which happened while we were there. And in my school, we listened to the radio broadcast of that over the intercom, sitting in class. Our next move was back to Germany, where we lived for all 4 years of high school. This was when Germany was still a divided country, East and West. Our Young Life group went to West Berlin during Thanksgiving of my junior year in high school. That was 1963, if you want to do the math. I'm 77. And while we were there, people came up crying to us because 5 days before we went was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And 5 months before we went there was when he was in Berlin and did his famous speech, Ich bin ein Berliner, which means I'm a Berliner, I'm one of you. It was expressing our care and that we were allies with them in the struggle they were going through. And people were just crying and crying. They were all so sad about that. We got to have tea one afternoon with Willy Brandt. He was the mayor of West Berlin, and if any of you know your history, he also became the Chancellor of Germany for many years after that. We took a bus tour and we crossed through the Berlin Wall into East Germany. We went through Checkpoint Charlie, if you ever heard of that, and the most famous crossing between East and West Berlin. And it was like, remember in Alice in Wonderland where it starts out in, not Alice in Wonderland. Thank you, Thero, the Wizard of Oz. See, mistakes, no problem. When it starts out in black and white and then goes move to color, this was the opposite. West Berlin was this vibrant, amazing city, and you crossed and everything was beige. Kind of like where everybody lives in Vegas. Everything was beige in Vegas. It's very weird moving there from North Carolina to the desert. We also got to have an evening with refugees who had escaped across that border and shared that with us. To get to West Berlin, you had to travel through East Germany on a train. And these scary, threatening-looking East German soldiers boarded the train, searching everything, making sure we weren't smuggling any people into or out of West Berlin. Then I went to college. My junior year, I was working for a different presidential candidate. Because of that, I got to shake hands with Bobby Kennedy. And then I was watching the California primary because I was very invested in the outcome. I was on the East Coast, so it was very late at night when the returns were in. And I watched that same man that I had shook hands with be gunned down and killed on live TV. So that's just through college. I'll stop there. But the point is, and I bet if you all went back, you've had lives like that too. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, despite all of those events that I got to be part of, the great adventures of my own life, and I had a number of personal successes along the way, I still, at this unconscious level, thought I had to be perfect in order to be of any value. And as I said, I was trying to please everyone also. I was very fortunate that those unconscious messages, and I'm going to tell you how those got created in just a minute, they were balanced by those wonderful parents I told you who I had, who at a very early age and my whole life said, you can be anything you want to be, and they supported me in whatever I chose to do. So how did somebody who had so much support from loving parents get hampered by beliefs that I had to be perfect and please everyone? No one gave me a bad time if I made mistakes in my life. And I was completely supported when I made my own choices. I was 5 years old. We lived in New York while my dad was in Korea. And in New York, kids start to school at 4 years old. They do pre-primer and then kindergarten. So you start school at 4. Well, at 5 years old, I was going to school. I had this brown dress that had a pinafore. Anybody know what? It's kind of like an apron thing. And the apron was brown on one side and print on the other. And even back then, I didn't like print. You'll notice I'm almost always in solid colors. And so I was going to school, and my mom wanted me to wear it with the print side out because the brown side was faded. Now, I realize now it was her be perfect message because she didn't want people to think she sent her kid to school in this faded thing. So she wanted me to wear the print side, so I had to do that. Went to school, first thing I did was go to the bathroom, turn it around, and went home with it the way I had done it, and I didn't get into any trouble like that. My parents supported me. My very first report card in first grade said, "Linda does as she pleases." I had a boyfriend that used to say, "See, it's on your permanent record." I didn't get in trouble for that either at home. Mrs. Perta Hobbs, my first grade teacher, was not all that fond of me, but that's okay. Anyway, how does a kid like that, who gets supported in all of that, still believe she has to be perfect? Because those beliefs were unconscious. And they were based on decisions that I made as a young child during certain life experiences, with the lack of information that a young child has about certain things. Little kids don't know exactly how the world works. And there's this thing that we get born with of thinking we're the center of the universe. And if we get parented well early, that's what happens, because during that early time, we're just learning to be. So with kids and our limited understanding, random events happen, and we think it's our fault. We think it's because of something we did. And the things that come out of that affect how we feel. Unloved, not cared for. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of life decisions that I made to help you understand just how really unconscious this kind of stuff is. And I want you to know that probably you have some things like this too. And if they're deep enough, and if the events that happened were traumatic enough, or perceived as traumatic, because sometimes things are benign, but we as kids think they're traumatic, that all of the work we do here to change our conscious thinking may not change that for you. So, the kind of therapy that I used to do we did things that allowed people to experience those early life things that happened to them, to actually go back and be there and figure out what you decided when you were back there. And so, as I said, I spent a lot of years not only doing therapy, but being in therapy. And I got to find out some very interesting things about me. The first thing was, I had this experience that I was lying in my crib, crying and crying and crying, and nobody came. And I kept crying, and nobody came. And I kept crying, and nobody came. And finally, at some point, I made a decision that I would better shut up and be good if I wanted to get taken care of. And it just so happened that my mom came at that moment and reinforced, "That's right, Linda, you have to be perfect. You have to be good." And so, 14 months, okay? I had been acting on that decision for almost 30 years when I had that experience in therapy and was able to make a new decision at that deep 14-month-old level, that it was okay for me to be me and not to be perfect and to express my feelings. Now, given what a great mom my mom was, I was baffled by this because it didn't fit with who I knew her to be, that she would leave me crying like that. So I called her up and I said, "Mom, I just had this experience in therapy, and I want to know if you have any idea when this happened or what was going on." And she said, she didn't even hesitate. She said, "I know exactly what that was." She said, "My brother Bobby, who was 15 months younger than I am and was 2 weeks late. It was time for him to be born, and she had said to the doctor, I don't think I can do bottles for 2 babies. Because back then you had to boil them, and you had to sanitize them, and you had to, cook the formula and all that kind of stuff. And she said, I just don't think I can do that for 2 babies, even though I was only taking them when I went to bed. And the doctor said, well, take her bottle away from her. She's old enough. And my mom said, but she'll cry. And the doctor said, oh, she'll get over it. So I was lying in my crib, crying and crying for that bottle, and my mom didn't come. And I did it, and I did it. And then just coincidentally, she happened to show up at the moment I had decided to shut up and be good. And so I lived my life that way as much as possible. And it was very unconscious. I'm sure that doctor is long dead, but I really think he should have had to pay for some of that therapy that I had to get over it. So anyway, the other decision happened when I was about 4 years old. As I mentioned earlier, my dad was in the military. He had been in the Army Reserve since World War II. He got called back to active duty when Korea happened. And unlike now, war wasn't something the kids saw on TV all the time or on their video games or whatever. It was not something that was part of our day-to-day life. And so my parents couldn't figure out, how do we tell our kids? We were 3 and 4 years old. How do we tell our kids, Daddy's going to war? And so they tried to figure it out at a kid level, and so what they told us was that there was something really bad happening in the world, and there were little kids that were in danger there, and that they needed my daddy to take care of them. And I thought, but I need my daddy to take care of me. What did I do wrong that he's leaving me to go take care of those other kids? And then as soon as he got back, my aunt and her soon-to-be husband had been waiting for my dad to get back to have their wedding. And so like the day after he got back, they had their wedding. So the first thing that happens, my dad gets back, and instead of just with us, we're at this wedding. And I vividly remember sitting in that church, and my dad was up front, being the best man in the wedding, and it felt like it was 10 miles away. And I remember sitting there in that church and saying to myself, I'm not ever going to let him get close to me again. So he can't know who I am, so he won't leave me again. And regrettably, I spent most of my life until after he had died, keeping my dad at a distance. And only after he was dead was I able to realize how unconditionally he loved me. And that he thought I was perfect. So that second decision had a much greater impact on my life because I was older when it happened, and so I had more of a memory of it. It also went on much longer. Instead of a few minutes, it went on for 2 years. And the first decision was pretty much negated a lot with my mother because of all the love and care she provided for me. But with my dad, that first decision of needing to be perfect got reinforced by the second thing that happened with him. And so he also, gone 2 years, and he went to work every day. And the first time we moved to Germany, he had to go months before we did, so he was gone again, because my parents didn't want to take us out of school during the school year. So all of those things, and I know that you all have things like that in your lives too. So I'm sharing them with you not because it's so important, my life, woohoo, but because I really want you to know we all have those experiences, and because if we haven't done anything at a deep level to change them, they're impacting who we are in the here and now. So if there's anything going on in your life that it feels like, why does this keep happening to me over and over and over again, despite all the work, despite all my prayer, despite my classes, despite my affirmations, despite all the things I do, then know that there's no shame in finding somebody therapeutically to help you with that. You know, we are not Christian Scientists. We don't believe that God only works directly. We believe God, if you've got cancer, go to an oncologist. We believe God works through doctors and everybody else in the world, and that includes therapists. So I want to say, if there's something in your life that gets happened over and over and over again, please know there are options for you on how to change that. Because if you only change your conscious mind, and those things are deep, they won't change your experience of life. And I just really want, sometimes I think, and we don't do, the sort of fundamentalist CSL is, if you're sick, what's in your consciousness that you're sick? Well, if you're not having all the abundance, what's in your consciousness that you're poor? Whatever. What I'm saying is there are things in your unconscious mind. And that we need to change our unconscious thinking, not just our conscious thinking. So call me a heretic, but I think it's really important. And there's so many opportunities now with how you can, online. You don't even have to leave your house to get therapy these days. So I also want to say that several things have happened over the last few months where I keep getting this nudge that I'm supposed to be teaching some of this stuff. I'm not licensed as a therapist, so I can't be your therapist in Utah. But Spirit's been saying you're supposed to teach some of this stuff. So we've got a sign-up sheet if that interests you at all to learn, just to learn more about how you got that way. Then you can figure out what kind of therapy to go to. But we've got a sign-up sheet, and if you're interested, sign up. And when I get my act together one of these days, I'll do some classes on that, and I'll let you know about it. So, okay. So I just want to end by saying that despite all the unconscious things that we have that can keep us from living the allness of who we are, one of the great graces of life is that we can choose to start our work consciously, and that can make a huge difference. A difference in how we show up in the world and how we feel about ourselves, so that we are free to serve from our whole selves, warts and all. As Lana shared in her reading, wholeness is not about perfection. It's about embracing who we are in our full humanity, our imperfections, our struggles, and our strengths, knowing that we are worthy of love and belonging just as we are. My prayer is that you leave here today knowing that the wholeness of who you are is perfectly imperfect. And that's the perfect way for you to be. So, all right. Now is our time for prayer. Thank you. And I'm going to be doing that quite differently today. Yesterday, I was one of several people who was copied on an email to Reverend Cindy from one of our longtime members who shared a Substack article called, "If your church doesn't mention Ukraine this Sunday, you may need to leave." That article was written by John Pavlovitz, who's described in Wikipedia as an American former youth pastor and author, known for his social and political writings from a liberal Christian perspective. This member reported that she was not someone who was usually politically involved, but said that she had, and I quote, "never been so politically enraged over anything as I currently am over the unforgivable treatment shown Ukrainian President Zelensky by our U.S. President and Vice President in yesterday's meeting at the White House." She went on to say, "Reverend Cindy, you may choose not to use the pulpit to express this outrageous Trump act against his house guests, but I sincerely hope that you will do so, and I certainly understand if you do not. Another person responded by saying, we have a very mixed congregation. And when we get political over anything, we anger many of our folks. Yet another person responded with, I go to church for a healing of my heart, not to be enraged once again. So I think this is another example of the great division that currently exists in our country, in our world, and I think it's essential that we not allow it to divide our spiritual family as it has so many families and organizations. Since Reverend Cindy's on vacation, it fell to me to decide how to deal with this today. And what I was led to do was first to acknowledge that our congregation is comprised of people of various political beliefs. But I would hope that we can all agree on the values of peace, of kindness, and of love. Can we agree on that? Okay. All right. So, instead of our regular kind of prayer, I'm going to read two somewhat well-known prayers for peace and our global CSL vision. We've got printed copies available in the lobby in case any of you are finding it hard to stay centered in peace, love, and kindness these days and think it might be helpful as part of your daily practice to read these prayers. And so I just want to say, let's rise above the divisiveness of the world and gather here in the oneness of spirit and in the values that we do share. So I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that and just allow yourself in your own way to experience these prayers that were adapted from St. Teresa, St. Francis, and the CSL Global Vision. Today, may there be peace within you. May you trust God that you are exactly where you're meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born in faith. May you use those gifts that you've received and pass on the love that's been given to you. May you be content knowing you are a child of and one with God. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to love. It is there for each and every one of us. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is discord, union. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Divine One, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is dying that we are born to eternal life. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers their own personal power an ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all its life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement, and justice. We have envisioned a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. And so it is. Amen. All right. So this is that time in our service where we practice that giving is receiving. You know, our center, it's so phenomenal. We have this amazing band, our wonderful Reverend Cindy, who, by the way, is on vacation in Cabo. She sends her love. I made her promise not to check her email for the next week, so just leave her alone. She is long overdue, this vacation, I promise you that. And so she will be back in a couple of weeks. So please send your love to her, and know that it is through your gifts and the ones you give online, the ones you give regularly, and the ones you give in this room that this center is supported, that we get to have our amazing audiovisual team back there, Raj and his team, and this amazing band, Reverend Cindy, and this space. So we're not... Remember the days when we had to pack up and move after every Sunday? Yeah, not fun. So I invite you to open your hearts, to give generously so that we may continue to provide this ministry of love for all. And so for I invite the ushers to please come forward. And we're going to do our old offering blessing just for old time's sake. So if you will, you can extend your hand toward the basket of giving, or you can, oh wait, we do that after, right? You guys do your thing. We'll bless it as soon as we have it. So carry on. Entertain them. Tune your guitars. Pound those drums. Yet another mistake. Oh dear. I'm going to break down and melt in a puddle. I made another mistake in front of everybody. Okay, now we'll do this. So if you will repeat it, if you want to extend your hand, your love through your hands to this basket, repeat after me. Joyously I give this gift,
Joyously I give this gift,
knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies
blesses and multiplies
all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be. And so it is.
And so it is.
Let's hear another one from Rick Charette.
So, a few years ago, we had an earthquake in Salt Lake City. It wasn't a big one, not a whole lot of damage, but it shook me up a little bit. I was getting ready for work, and it got me thinking. There was all this tension in Mother Earth, and it was released. That sounds like a good thing, right? It is. It took me a while to get there, but the morning was chaotic for me, and I had a headache. But I thought about what had happened, and you know how we're told we can go 10,000 miles away and look at it in a different way, in a bigger way, in a better way. And that's what inspired the song. It's called Little Blue Ball. The ground quakes, it made the whole house shake. It came at daybreak near the Great Salt Lake. Now I'm wide awake with a terrible headache. I turn on the news, some say the news is fake. For heaven's sake. And all of this happens as we dance together on a little blue ball, spinning around a star. A baby cries, we sing a lullaby to pacify. When lovers sigh, they close their eyes. A mother cries, who's the guy? Daughter rolls her eyes. Politicians lie and people die. I don't know why. all of this happens as we pray together on a little blue ball spinning around a star. Our planet was born about 5 billion years ago. It rests a perfect distance from the sun. And human life has evolved so quickly, but I'm sure that we're so far from done. Mountains and valleys, forests and plains, lakes, rivers, ice, and the sea. A marvelous variety of plants, fish, and critters, bugs and birds and humanity. We are fed and watered, sheltered and stirred. Mother Earth holds us close to her skin. She gives us lessons of balance and harmony, determination, cooperation, time and again. When the winds blow, here comes the rain and snow. The rivers flow and flowers glow. Sometimes a rainbow, fireflies glow, and the grass I'll have to mow. Seasons come and go, I wonder why. I just don't know. But all of this happens as we live together. All of this happens as we pray together. Yes, all of this happens as we dance together on a little blue ball spinning around a star. A little blue ball spinning around a star. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Linda. I loved hearing your personal story. All those times we've talked, and I have not heard some of those things. It was fascinating and put in the context of today's talk. It was wonderful. Thank you. Remember, there's a visioning with a light lunch. Is it going to be in here or is it downstairs? Okay, last week downstairs was yeah, it was like there was an earthquake down there. So that'll be downstairs. Remember the survey. Please participate in that. Some of those messages will come to me. If you have any feedback about the music and what we can do differently, all of us in leadership want to make this a place that serves you. We don't do this for ourselves. Sometimes it feels like it, but this is for you. This is your community. So participate in that, please. If you have a desire to have a prayer with a practitioner, I think that'll happen across the hall this week. So take advantage of that. Let's stand, everybody. Sing our perfectly imperfect song. I can see clearly now. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me down. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around you, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. There is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
It is a beautiful day.
Right.
You did so well.
I've got a mind to choose which way I go. I got a mind, and I'm gonna choose my own way. I'll overthrow the status quo.